In this video, we're going to look at how the Clippers closed out Tuesday's win strong against the Raptors. Alright, the Clippers are down by 6, about 5:15 to go in the fourth quarter. This is really an incredible run on both ends of the floor by the Clippers, and it starts here. High screen set by Zubac. This is going to allow Paul George to come downhill as the ball handler, but they trap him. They get the ball out of his hands. He finds Zubac on the short roll. Great catch radius by Zubac here. Comes down, reads the low man defender, which means he can either pass to Leonard or pass to Morris on the wing. What Zubac ends up deciding to do is, no, I'm just going to cram all over him. Goes up strong, finishes with a very nice dunk to start. Doing smart stuff on the defensive end leads to good things on the offensive end here. As this play starts, we're going to notice that Leonard is going to duck under the initial screen. He doesn't really respect Siakam's three-point attempt. We're going to see him bump the cutter that comes across the lane, stays underneath the next screen. Siakam's going to pull up from three here. This isn't a bad shot. This is a fine shot, but Siakam's not a great three-point shooter. You don't have to respect him really on that end. He ends up missing it, and now the Clippers are going to push the ball up the floor. They're not going to walk it up. They're actually going up with some pace and some tempo. Screen looks like it's being set by Zubac, but he's going to slip. And by slipping, it pulls Fred VanVleet down, which means Morris will be open on the wing. This is great play recognition by Paul George. Kicks it right across to Morris. Morris is open. This is a look that Morris has to hit at a high rate, and he has this season. Gets a nice, friendly bounce on this one. You have to stay principled in your defensive effort. You cannot allow an offensive player to get to the spots he wants to go to as Siakam drives. Notice how Leonard gets bumped, but he doesn't get dislodged. He's going to get back right into this play against Siakam. Ball goes out to Johnson. Johnson could have taken this three, but he knows he's not that great of a shooter either. He's going to try to drive against George, and this is where Toronto gets into some sort of trouble here. As Johnson goes to drive, George maintains very good defensive principles, stays upright, doesn't foul, ends up forcing the miss, and the ball goes out of bounds for a reset. Alright, baseline out of bounds here, coming off the last play. Screen gets set against Leonard. He's got to work his way back to get back to VanVleet in the corner. This isn't an easy look. It's a tough look. It's one VanVleet can definitely make, but he ends up missing it, so the Clippers get a little lucky. It's a semi-open look. George comes off with the rebound, and now they're going to push the ball up the floor again. Notice when they come across half court, only 4 seconds have come off the clock. Zubac sits a high screen. George could pull up here, but he kicks it across to Jackson. And now they're going to work a mismatch that they've now spotted in the mid-post, which is Morris matched up against VanVleet. This is a matchup the Clippers went to several times in this game. It's one they felt comfortable with. It's one that Morris excels at. So Morris is going to spin baseline off the contact, gets a nice open turnaround jumper, and he cashes this one in. This is the type of aggression that you absolutely love to see out of the Clippers late in a close game. You want to see them driving the ball to the rim, and they do that here. Zubac slips the screen that he's trying to set. Now he is open as the roller to be passed to. However, Leonard's going to kick to George. George is going to drive. He has the defender beat. The next defender is not in great position. George is able to draw contact. He gets fouled, and he goes to the line for 2 free throws and the lead. It should go without saying, but Reggie Jackson has been an important and integral part of the Clippers this season. His shot making, his clutch shot making, they've all been really huge for the team. He's going to set a screen here for Paul George, and Jackson is then going to pop and flare off of this screen. Gets the ball from Zubac, and we're going to see Jackson go into his own offense here. As he drives against Yuta Watanabe, Jackson's going to get downhill, and as he goes up, he's going to finish with a very, very tough left-handed layup to tie the game. This is a possession which really broke Toronto's back. On the defensive end is where it starts. High screen being set here. This is going to allow VanVleet to get downhill, but Zubac is up higher. This is not drop coverage. He's up higher. It allows George to get back into this play. George gives great effort and blocks the shot. He's going to get the rebound. Now we're coming back the other way. Once again, I just want you to notice the Clippers are pushing the ball up the floor. They get across midcourt once again with only 4 seconds off the shot clock. Second defender is up too high, which is going to mean that Zubac can cut in behind. George is going to spot him. Pass to Zubac. Zubac is swarmed by 4 defenders. VanVleet is going to dig across to Jackson, which means if the pass goes to Jackson, George will be open on 3. Here comes Zubac. Pass to Jackson. Swing to George. George is open. High quality look. Great stuff all around by everyone. God, this is such a heads-up play by Paul George. Leonard just flat out loses the ball here. But look at George. He immediately recognizes, I have to get back in transition defense. He hustles all the way back, turns his head to spot Pascal Siakam on the break, stops dead in Siakam's track, draws a charge, and the Clippers are now going the other way in a 2-point game. This is a good late game rep for the Clippers. When the opposition tries to suffocate your two best players, they have to make the proper and right play to generate open looks for other players on the team, and we see that here. George in the mid-post starts to drive. Watanabe comes over to suffocate that driving lane. George jumps, and he's going to pass out to Leonard, and then Leonard is now going to try to operate as a driver. As Leonard crosses over and goes downhill to the rim, we're going to notice that by putting pressure on the middle of the floor, it draws Siakam over, and Siakam's going to try to stop Morris from getting the ball in the corner. Leonard is going to read this, passes to Jackson on the wing, shot fake, gets Van Vliet to fly by. Jackson now pulls up supremely wide open, 1.5 on the shot clock. Jackson makes this, and now it's a 5-point lead. You also have to get a little bit lucky at the end of games, and we see that here. Morris goes and tries to help on the wrong side of the screen here. Siakam's going to get downhill. George gets pulled into this, which means that Van Vliet is going to be open on the wing should the pass come. Siakam hits Van Vliet. George tries to get out there. Van Vliet has a really good look. Great shooter. He misses this. The Clippers get lucky that he misses, and Jackson gets good help to force the ball out of bounds. Once again, the Clippers do get lucky. This is the final play we're going to look at. They get a little bit lucky here, but this is also what happens when hustle and determination can save your butt in a game. We're going to end up seeing that Watanabe is going to cut baseline, and as he cuts, Van Vliet's going to set a back screen against Leonard, and George is going to get confused on if he should switch or not. We see this confusion lead to Van Vliet curling up. He's going to get the ball. Batum is locked under the screen, which means Jackson has to give a good contest. This is a great contest by Reggie Jackson. Van Vliet ends up missing the three. The Clippers get the possession. The Clippers got lucky on these last two, but this was great stuff out of them over the final 5 minutes of this game.